Hey everyone, Brayden here coming to you with some breaking news as we just got word that Walt Disney World's theme parks located in Orlando, Florida are closing early tomorrow and are likely to remain closed all day on Thursday as Hurricane Milton crosses the state of Florida. That isn't the only preparation Disney is making at this hour, as the most attended theme parks in the world lock down for what is shaping up to be a very serious storm. There are a number of other precautions Disney is taking as they deal with not only everyone trying to get to Walt Disney World for their vacations that they booked months or even years ago, but also, of course, they have the tens of thousands of guests currently at the resorts they need to keep safe, as well as, of course, the park's infrastructure itself. As I'm sure you're well aware, just a week and a half ago, Hurricane Helene crossed paths with the state of Florida, where the most damaging part of the storm missed our area of focus on this channel, the theme parks that you have in Orlando, specifically Walt Disney World. However, Florida's west coast was not spared. Helene brought significant storm surges along Florida's Gulf Coast before heading into Appalachia. It spawned major flooding and wind damage extending into Georgia, South Carolina, and western North Carolina, where many who were in the path of Helene are still without power and cell service. And just as cleanup work is getting underway along the path that Helene took, now we have another major hurricane set to hit Florida starting on Wednesday. This storm went from a small chance of forming into a subtropical depression late last week to a Category 5 hurricane in record-setting time. Meteorologists right now are highlighting that this hurricane is smaller in size than Helene, which could mean that it weakens much faster and could potentially have a smaller area of impact relative to Helene, but that smaller size also means the system has strengthened very quickly, and that has given Florida residents very limited time to sort out their plans and get out. On Saturday, the Florida governor declared a state of emergency for the counties in the forecasted track of this hurricane, and those counties include Orange and Osceola counties, where Walt Disney World resides. Following this on Sunday, Disney removed most of the resort hotel availability from their site for bookings on Wednesday night this week when the hurricane is projected to hit the area. Disney likely did this to make sure that guests that are currently at the resort who have now had their flights canceled, Disney can accommodate them for an additional night because they got rid of the availability that was left and they're reserving it in case they need it for guests that are now stuck at Walt Disney World. On Monday, we found out that the Orlando International Airport would be shutting down commercial operations starting at 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning. And at midday on Monday, the National Hurricane Center upgraded Central Florida from a hurricane watch, meaning hurricane force conditions are possible, to a hurricane warning, meaning expect it, it's coming. Finally, after days of saying that we're under normal conditions, the Walt Disney World Emergency Operations Center announced on Monday that Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground, the Copper Creek Cabins at Disney's Wilderness Lodge, as well as the Treehouse Villas at Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa would temporarily close beginning at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, October 9th, with Disney expecting Fort Wilderness in particular to be closed until at least Sunday. This storm is currently projected to bring hurricane force winds between 74 and 110 miles per hour to the Orlando area based on the latest information from Orange County Emergency Management. And of course, with sustained winds anywhere in that range, places like the Fort Wilderness Campground, they will have a lot of tree debris and a lot of cleanup to do after the storm. So that's the deal with it being closed till Sunday over there. By Tuesday afternoon, all of the major theme parks in Orlando, besides Disney, had already announced park closures for Wednesday and Thursday. And also, we've been in contact with Walt Disney World cast members who have not been very happy because they volunteered to be on duty during this hurricane to assist with guests and keeping the resort safe. And Disney had yet to let cast members who volunteered to stay know if they had been approved, if they would be on duty sticking it out to assist guests during the storm. I think they could have given guests and cast more notice to figure out what they're going to do and allowed time for people to develop a plan. At this point, though, it's water under the bridge. We are now into final preparations mode here, and at this hour, Disney has finally announced their initial plan for closing the Walt Disney World theme parks and other amenities for Hurricane Milton. On Wednesday, October 9th, the theme parks as well as Disney Springs will begin a phased closure in the afternoon. So first at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, Disney's Hollywood Studios and Disney's Animal Kingdom, they will close. And then at 2 p.m., same day on Wednesday, Magic Kingdom Park, Epcot, and the Disney Springs shopping area, those will close as well. They're probably staggering it like this for traffic reasons, just making the transportation and logistics a little easier here. And then, very interesting, Disney says, quote, "It is likely the theme parks will remain closed on Thursday, October 10th. We will consider opening Disney Springs on Thursday in the late afternoon with limited offerings." Disney also adds the Halloween party Thursday night at Magic Kingdom has been canceled. Now, this closure language is kind of strange. It's noticeably weaker than what we saw previously with Hurricane Irma, as you might recall, where Disney said, we're closing early today. We're going to be closed at least the next 2 days. Do not be here. Get out of the area. Here they're saying we're closing in the afternoon Wednesday, and we likely will be closed on Thursday, which I feel like kind of opens the door for people who, aren't the smartest to be like, oh, we'll hang around. Maybe it'll be open on Thursday. That'd be really cool. Personally, I think the best policy is, especially looking at this one here, expect the worst, prepare for that, but do not be emotional. Do not get scared or anything like that. Anticipate what very well might happen, what the forecasts are showing, and on the other hand, hope for the best outcome here. So to that end, taking a look at the latest forecast from the National Hurricane Center, at the time that I'm recording this, they placed the center of the hurricane over Walt Disney World at 7 a.m. on Thursday. And of course, earlier in the day on Thursday, as well as late in the day on Wednesday, we'll already be observing effects from this storm in Central Florida. If we take a look at the most recent HAFSB model predicting where this storm will likely go, we can see leading up to landfall in Central Florida, it looks like there's going to be a lot of rain heading through the Central Florida area. And even prior to then, it's already been rainy at Walt Disney World. So there is a high chance for flash flooding. So definitely heads up on that. It looks like there's going to be a lot of rain coming in from the northern part of the formation as the band goes counterclockwise there. And we've also heard a lot about those hurricane force winds. You'll notice south of the eye in this model, there isn't any rain. However, south of the eye there, you're going to still have extremely powerful winds as it runs into Tampa. And then it looks like that low pressure center is going to be heading almost right up I-4 towards Orlando, at least in this model here. Taking a look at the timing for this hitting Florida and Disney in particular, winds will be felt on the Gulf Coast shortly after 8 a.m. on Wednesday, and in the Orlando area midday on Wednesday. As the theme parks are shutting down, that is when the winds will start really picking up there. As those winds pick up from there, the National Hurricane Center is forecasting an 80% chance of tropical storm force winds in the Orlando area during this storm. Hurricane force, maybe even based on many of the forecasts. By sundown on Wednesday, the hurricane itself will begin heading into the Tampa Bay area, and the worst part of the storm will be headed over Tampa and towards Orlando in the early hours on Thursday, based on the latest forecast that we have. For those of you in the forecasted path of this hurricane, I am sure that you've been preparing and are making those final preparations now, or hopefully already have finished those. I am not in the path of this storm. My family that does live in Central Florida has evacuated and gotten out of the path of this storm. Currently in Orlando, there aren't any evacuation orders. If you're in the path of this storm, you can check your county's emergency management website for any information on that. If more evacuation orders do end up dropping here, there's a chance due to wind shear and dry air from the north that we'll see this hurricane weaken quite quickly. That is what we're hoping here for everyone in the Central Florida area. I'll be right back with you guys here once the storm is through, and we'll see what the damage is like at Walt Disney World. Hopefully there isn't any, in which case I guess there won't be a video. So for those of you in the cone of uncertainty here, the path of this hurricane, please stay safe. Please take shelter. We'll be praying for you. God bless. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a magical day.